It was no ordinary Saturday when the sun bowed its head to darkness on that early September evening. The major looked out from his post and saw enemy warships coming up the body of water surrounding the fortification just outside the city. And his sixth sense told him they were about to come under siege. On Tuesday morning, his worst fears became reality as shelling began from the vessels stationed out on the river. Immediately, orders were given to open up return fire. But sadly, all of our shots fell short. The enemy's warships could fire their 200-pound shells the distance of 2 miles. Our cannons, though very powerful, could only reach 1.5 miles. The men felt helpless as heavy rain began to fall. For 8 long hours they endured this fighting, till about 2 p.m., a scream soared across the overcast sky as a shell detonated above the men. The explosion immediately killed Lieutenant Levi Claggett, and a piece of the rocket casing 2 inches thick passed diagonally through the body of Sergeant Clem. The brave soldier fell to the feet of Isaac Monroe, and as the young soldier grabbed his friend, he watched as he gave up his last breaths of life for the cause of freedom and independence. The enemy, sensing the despair and confusion, edged 3 of their warships in closer, hoping to take control. The situation seemed most distressing, but the men did not shirk from the conflict. The words of Patrick Henry echoed from beyond the grave. The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone. It is to the vigilant. It is to the active. And it is to the brave. The major, when he saw the enemy warships come within range, he gave the orders to open fire. Cannons ignited with the sound of American defense as shot after shot rang out. And within the span of 30 minutes, the enemy would have to withdraw back out of reach. Cheers went up as the men knew they had won a brief victory, but the battle was not over. And the major knew that if they failed to protect the city, it would fall, and so too possibly could the entire nation. The enemy, now upset with their brief defeat, began to incessantly throw rockets and cannons throughout the evening and into the night. Thunder echoed across the sky as lightning pierced the darkness. And at about 1 a.m. on Wednesday morning, under the cover of that darkness, the enemy dispatched 1,250 men in smaller vessels, hoping to reach the shore and overthrow this American band of brothers. But they had not been prepared that this group of men would be willing to lay down their lives for one another in defense of their homeland. And the major, sensing the danger as if he'd been touched on the shoulder by Almighty God, gave the orders to this united group of Army, Navy, and citizen soldiers to open up their entire battery of weaponry in defense of the city. For more than 2 hours, the sky was ablaze with rockets and cannons filling the air. And by 7 a.m. on Wednesday morning, after the enemy had fired more than 1,800 rockets and cannons, they had not accomplished their goal. America had not fallen. It was still a group of individual states united in the cause of liberty. And this American band of brothers had kept America one nation under God. America was still free. And at 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning, as the rain and fog began to cease, the major gave the orders to fire a single cannon shot as the small storm flag was lowered. And a massive garrison flag was raised above the rampart for all the world to see. And then, in the distance, out on a small vessel, a young man saw the flag. and moved with emotion, he wrote these words. On the shore, dimly seen through the mists of the deep, where the foe's haughty host in dread silence reposes. What is that? Over the breeze, over the towering steeps, as it fitfully blows, half conceals, half discloses. Now it catches the gleam of the morning's first beam, in full glory reflected, now shines on the stream. 'Tis the Star-Spangled Banner. Oh, long may it wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave. The words of the young lawyer would remind the nation that freedom has a cost. And every day, somewhere in America, people honor those men who died when they stand, remove their hats, and sing the poem of Francis Scott Key. You know it as our national anthem. It would do us well to remember the last verse as it says, "Oh, thus be it ever, where free men shall stand, between their loved home and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace may this heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. And conquer we must, when our cause it is just, and this be our motto, in God is our trust. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph shall wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave. No greater love than this, than a man would lay down his life for his friends."